This is the IFF TV podcast.
Hello, welcome to Irish Football Fan TV. I'm delighted to be joined by Republic of Ireland striker Aaron Connolly, fresh off the back of his new move to Venezia and fresh off the weekend of scoring a goal for them as well in pre-season. Aaron, how are you?
Yeah, all good, all good. Just trying to get used to the Italian lifestyle at the minute, but no, it's all going well at the minute.
Yeah, well, I suppose the last time we caught up properly was during the lockdown. And we were kind of going through it. It was the transition from maybe the Brighton under-23s up to the senior team, the goals against Spurs. Then it was the transition from the 21s with Ireland and then into the national team. And things are kind of, in my opinion, you've been probably unlucky because I go back to that Portugal game, the one we lost, the two late goals with Ronaldo. And in that game, I felt as though, you were a real threat in that game, and maybe you had scored that one goal, maybe things would have changed for you. And I always kind of think that's the way with football and kind of luck and things like that. If a goal goes in there, people are talking about you, like you're like the Spurs goals, for example. And then if they don't go in, you're the worst person in the world. But how have you found, I suppose, the transition from after the lockdown, and just kind of I suppose when looking at it from your point of view, you were probably looking to get to that next level. It probably hasn't happened the way you wanted it to, but I assume that's what you want to do now, is kick on and try and get back to that level of playing, at the highest level week in, week out.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, that's always been my aim. It's not gone as well in the last 2-3 years, maybe as I thought it would have gone. Started off well, made some wrong choices off the pitch, on the pitch. And there's little details like that. If you don't get all that spot on, it's downhill really from there. And I got a lot of things wrong. If I could do it differently, I would, but it's happened now. And right now, I don't think I've been in a place physically or mentally. I don't think I've been in a better place in years. Italian pre-season is different. Very different. So a lot of running. I was in Slovenia for the last 10 days. It was tough. But no, like I said, like physically, mentally, I haven't felt this strong or happy in a long, long time.
Yeah, well, I go back to, I remember Keith Andrews speaking about you and kind of how you're very harsh on yourself. You obviously have high standards for yourself, which is pretty normal in any walk of life and in any sort of career. So, kind of, do you think that maybe at times you were maybe harsh on yourself, that was beating you up maybe inside, and that was affecting maybe your confidence?
I don't know. Yeah, I am harsh on myself, but I think a lot of players are. Obviously, I had a great start to life in the Premier League at Brighton, and even in the under-23s, I was always harsh on myself. So I wouldn't say that was a contribution. I think a lot of people know why I haven't kicked on, and I know myself, which is the most important thing. And that's why this move to Italy was vital, just to get away from kind of the circle that I was in England, and I needed a fresh start. And like I said, the Italian pre-season's a lot different, and I'm feeling the benefits already. So I'm just looking forward to getting this pre-season out of the way and then the season starting.
Yeah, just on obviously Italy and going over there was part of the reason that, like, we know you went on loan to Middlesbrough, and we'll probably talk about that as well. Was that again to get away from the circle? At Middlesbrough, because Brighton and Middlesbrough, they're quite far apart, and maybe you were trying to get away from people there, maybe off the pitch or whatever, just to get your head right. What was Chris Wilder like for you last season? And Graham Potter, even, he always speaks very highly of you, but he obviously saw a chance for you to go out and play first team football. I imagine that was the reason why you went to Middlesbrough. And I suppose, how was that loan?
I feel like, as much as maybe the Middlesbrough fans might not look back on it as a loan that worked, obviously I didn't get the goals which I was brought in to do. But I thought my performances were were all right. I was getting to a place where I was starting to contribute to the game, like holding the ball, running behind, doing certain things, and obviously the goals didn't come with that. And as a striker, unfortunately, that's what you're judged on. I don't think people see outside of just goals. And yeah, I look back, it was a good time. Chris Wilder is a top manager, as everyone knows. Gave me my chances in the team. I played quite a few games. Obviously, nearing the end of the season, and I come out of the team, which was obviously his choice. And it was disappointing to miss out on playoffs. I thought we had a good enough team to be right up there, and obviously the way it worked out, we didn't make it. And no, I still look back. It was a good group of lads, good players, and I'm sure they'll be right up there. I think they'll be fighting for automatic this season, to be honest with you. Just with the group of players they have and the manager and the staff, I think they'll be all right this season.
Yeah, I think it comes down to, so sometimes you could just make that move, and like this, obviously you'd be hoping that that's the case with Venezia. Like I look at maybe Michael Obafemi was probably in a similar position to you 2-3 years ago. He's come back into the Ireland squad after a really good season with Swansea, and he was, I suppose, in some ways the forgotten man. And I think in some ways now you've kind of become the forgotten man. And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way. I just mean, is, other players are coming on the scene and they're scoring, and it's good to actually have options for once from an Irish point of view. Because there's been times where we didn't know where the next goal was going to come from, type thing. But I suppose in your case, it can just be maybe that one loan move that you come back full of confidence. You hit the ground running. You seem to have hit the ground running in pre-season. You seem to be enjoying yourself. Is this a move in many ways? And again, I'm not being disrespectful here, but you're going away from home. You're living on your own. There's a lot of growing up that you'll have to do now over the course of the season.
Yeah, obviously with the Middlesbrough loan, I don't think mentally I was in a place to go in there and score goals and be the best version of myself that I could have been. As much as people say confidence in football, I never really understood it until the last maybe 2-3 seasons. Confidence has been on the deck. Chance when I missed chances or hadn't been playing, and yeah, mentally I wasn't in the right place to go on loan. I did it just because I wanted to play football, but it wasn't the right time. And I wasn't playing at Brighton and had offers from a top championship club, and I wasn't going to turn it down. I'm a footballer at the end of the day, but I wish, looking back now, a different version of myself. I wish this version right now had showed up at Middlesbrough, because I think it would have been a different story. But I'm in Italy now and I'm enjoying it, and that's mentally I wouldn't have been able to move abroad last season if this offer come up. I wouldn't have been excited, but when I heard about the offer from Venezia, I couldn't say yes quick enough, because I thought, get me out of England, and got a good group of people around me right now, good group of mates, the old circle that I used to be around, and off the pitch, I've had to make my mind up. It's either keep going in the phase that I was going in, and eventually I'll just be completely forgotten. Like you said, like at the minute I'd be probably the forgotten man in Irish football. And if I'd kept associating with people that I'd been associating with before, I would have completely gone off the scale. And now, obviously, I think I've turned that around, and hopefully people will be able to see that with performances and my work rate and hopefully goals.
Yeah, I think it's that if you're ever going through kind of a bad period of life and you kind of go back to your basics of kind of when you were at your best kind of place, and you try and go back to putting everything back together so you can get your head kind of mentally back to that place. Like I think I've done it myself with stuff, you have to go back to basics, maybe lose a few friends, and in the process that might be harsh for them, but in your own life it's probably more beneficial in that sense.
Yeah, of course, obviously it's a football podcast, but that plays into my football in life. There's the association I had with certain people off the pitch and away from the training ground and away from the lights, if you get me. And it was never gonna benefit me in any way. Um, Being around people and certain places and stuff like that. So the group I have around me now, the support network, my friends, family, people that I've that are in my life right now, they're only helping, and that's all I want. They don't want anything from me. They like to see how I'm doing. They like to see me doing well, and that's the type of people you need to mentally be able to kick on and on the pitch to enjoy myself.
Yeah, I suppose in many ways you could take a lot of credit, or not credit, sorry, a lot from Shane Duffy and the bad period he went through and how he came back and really resurrected his career because like people were writing him off after the Celtic loan. I know you're close with Shane as well. Does he talk to you a good bit to kind of keep your spirits up and stuff like that? Because I know when you were at Brighton, he was very much like an older brother to you. I don't know if you could say that. That's kind of up to you, but that's what it seemed from the outside looking in.
Yeah, no, he's that's another person that I mean in that kind of support network. He's a top person, and he's had his struggles, as was well documented at a big club like Celtic, and come back to Brighton. Didn't look like there was going to be a place for him, and then he was top last season when he played, and yeah, he looks after me all the time. Speak to him, helps me out, gives me good advice because it's been around the game for a long time. I've been around the first team scene for about 4 years now, and to have people like that around me, and obviously he's Irish as well. So when I do go into the Irish camps, he's a top person to be around, and he's just a good guy. He just wants to help, and I usually do listen to him.
Yeah, well, I know. Sorry, my voice is gone. Don't drink the night before a podcast. But yeah, it seems as though you are very close, and you know you are good mates in that sense, and I can't think of anyone better kind of to look at between either himself or the way Michael Obafemi's turned things around now. He went from being a complete forgotten man to probably being now Ireland's number 9 after that performance against Scotland. But just want to take you back to, I know you worked with Stephen at the 21s level, and he seems to really like you in that Irish setup. And when you are fit and when you are available, he seems to start. You always seem to play on the left hand side for him. You always seem to be very dangerous playing for him. And just the way, do you like playing on that left hand side? Because I know you're used to being the number 9, but I think it's just good for you. You get in behind, you get a lot of chances. You're probably unlucky. I think it was it the Azerbaijan game you nearly scored the cut in off the left, kind of Thierry Henry esque type of cut in and shot type. So I remember there was just a couple. Again, I gotta go back to the Portugal game as well. It's probably if you score there, you get your first. Is that something that's kind of hanging over you now? You want to get that first Ireland goal, get that out of the way. I remember you talking about Robbie Keane slagging you in the lift against was it Georgia away, saying if you get one, you only have to get 68 more or something funny like that.
Yeah, no, that's of course it hangs over you a lot. Last few camps, obviously, certain injuries and different things. I haven't been around the camp, and obviously playing for Ireland's every kid's dream that grows up in Ireland, and I've probably taken a lot of things for granted over the years, and when I have played, in the back of my head I'm thinking that's another game, another cap without a goal. And I think a couple of years ago, that Portugal chance, I don't snap at it. Obviously in the last few seasons it's gone differently, and if that goes in, it's a different story. I think we go 2-0 up and we were more comfortable in the game, and then that sort of stuff plays in your mind, and then you go and see Ronaldo score twice, and yeah, it was tough. It was tough to take after that one. That was probably one of the hardest nights I've had in an Irish camp after that game. Just the thought of I kept replaying it in my head. Just if that goes in, we're comfortable. We win 2-0, and well, we more than likely win 2-0. We get something where we're not holding on to a 1-goal lead, and yeah, I'd say that played on my mind a lot that night.
Well, I spoke with Gavin Bazzoon, did a podcast with him there a couple of weeks ago in Tallaght Stadium, and he spoke about how the team really learned from that. Matt Doherty, I did something with him as well during the course of last season, and he just spoke about how the team, learned a lot from that game. And look, I know we did lose, but we did go and give them a really good game. I remember watching it going, like, this is the type of football we want to see. This is the type of Irish performance we want to see. Albeit we lost, I think there was many Irish fans that were still proud of that performance. And just, Ronaldo's just a freak, and I mean that in a complimentary sense, that he's just a sicko like that, and he pops up 2 goals. And I think if he's not on the pitch, we probably at least get a draw in that game,
Yeah, of course. I think that's one of the most enjoyable games I've been a part of, like, with Ireland. Off the top of my head, probably that and the Sweden under 21s when we played them away would probably be the 2 most enjoyable games I've played for Ireland. Just purely because I thought in that first half, obviously they had the missed penalty, but when Eek scored, it's just different. When you're growing up, you dream of like playing in big games like that and going toe to toe with players and teams like Portugal. Obviously, Ronaldo just pops up and does what he does, but that night was felt like a big turning point, kind of, with the reign of the gaffer, and obviously we couldn't really back it up at home the week after against, I think it was Azerbaijan, but the boys have done well in the last few camps. Obviously, big win against Scotland, a few disappointing results obviously before that, but no, I think we're starting to get there, and I think we'll be fine, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I go back to that Portugal game because Ruben Diaz at the time was arguably the best centre back in the world. You could say on par with Van Dijk, maybe you would say, but he was, in the Premier League with Man City, he was the player that everybody was talking about and how brilliant he was. And I thought on that night that you really gave him a game, and he looked frightened of your pacing behind, and that's what I'm saying. Like, when you see an Irish players going up and being fearless, and I felt like you were fearless that night. Adam Ida was excellent that night as well, up top with you. There was some really top performances that night, Gavin in goals as well, like that. But I just kind of look at how many players that came through with that 21 setup that you've played with, and even younger coming up now. Like, you look at Nathan Collins, again, he played against Lithuania, the game where Troy scored the late goal, and he's just gone to another level. He's gone up a level. There's players like Jason Knight, who I imagine will move on from Derby as well. There's Troy, Michael, Adam, Jason Malumbi, your mate, obviously in midfield as well. There's so many good players coming through. Darrow O'Shea. Look, the list, the keepers as well. Mark, Queeveen and Gavin. Like, there's just a really exciting bunch, and I'd include yourself in that as well. And I think if you can get maybe hit, I assume your goal this season is to reach double figures. I don't know too much about Venezia and kind of where they aim to be. I imagine they aspire to be in Serie A next season, and I imagine that's your kind of goal, to try and help them get there and get back, force your way back into that Irish team, and not be the forgotten man at the moment. Again, I don't mean that in a disrespectful sense, but it should give you that kind of hunger to be the main man again.
Yeah, of course. There's like, you've named off the players from the under-21 squad.
Now, I might have left out a couple, so no disrespect if they're listening.
No, it was like I said, that my favourite game I've played with an Ireland shirt is with the under-21s away at Sweden. Just the win, the way the place was afterwards, and all them players that played that night. Obviously, to go on and play with them at first team level, it's just thinking back to that night, and then to play alongside, say, for example, Jason Malumbi. Obviously, I've known him for years, grew up with him at Brighton, and to be able to play in the same game as him, as Ireland first team players, it's stuff that you talk about when you first move over at 16 to Brighton. So no, it's an exciting time. Obviously, like, we've got a lot of striking options. The 3 goalkeepers you mentioned, I think any of them could be a number one. Mark was top at Bournemouth last season. Queeveen when he played in the Carabao Cup, and obviously Gavin has just gone to Southampton now, and he's just kicked on since that 21s trip. And I think, if I remember right, I think Brian Maher might have been the keeper that day. It just goes to show how much Gavin's really kicked on, and to get a move to a top Premier League side and looks the number one there at the minute. it's exciting for everybody, I think, and it should really excite the Irish fans. And obviously, hopefully, I can get back to a place where I'm hitting form, scoring goals, and get back around the Irish setup and show everyone that I really do appreciate putting on an Ireland jersey every time.
Yeah, well, I think I just the talent pool that's coming through is excellent, and then you have a lot of players who are actually moving over to Italy as well. I think I'm not sure if Liam Kerrigan played in the same under 21s as you. He may have.
Funnily enough, I actually played with him in what would you call that back in the, because it was like obviously a Connacht, like
The best of kind of Connacht,
yeah, kind of something like that. So obviously I played with him. My dad knows his mum quite well, I think, and his family. So when I seen he signed for Como, I was a bit like, two Connacht, Galway, and I think Sligo. Like moving to Italy, it's probably something that a couple of years ago, when we were playing at home and playing locally, I don't think we both would have pictured we'd both be in Italy at the same time. So yeah, it's strange times, to be honest.
Will that be a bit of a weird one if he's coming up against you next this season and you're hearing him in his Sligo accent, you and your Galway accent, shouting at each other on the pitch? Maybe not necessarily shouting at each other, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it'd be strange. I'd say it'd be more strange for the Italian players, to be honest, that there's two Irish players playing in the same game in Italy, because I don't think it's too heard of. I think Robbie Keane's the only one off the top of my head I can think of that's played in Italy, and
Well, you would have had Liam Brady, but that was way back.
before my time. But obviously, yes, it's a strange one, to be honest. But I think I can't speak for him, but I'm sure he's as excited as I am to get started now.
Yeah, I think a lot of Irish fans are just enjoying the fact that a lot of players are just moving away from different clubs. Like even one player that we actually didn't even speak about there. No, he wasn't with your group of the 21s, but like Josh Cullen, who went to Anderlecht and really excelled. There, he's obviously moved to Burnley back with Vincent Company, but I really felt like he really kicked on the last couple of seasons, just benefiting from maybe, as you say, getting away from, all the, I suppose, all the headlines and everything that comes with kind of playing in England. And if you do one thing wrong, it's magnified 10 times over and stuff like that. So the fact that you're away from that now, like, even I think a lot of Irish fans are just delighted now that maybe they could go over to a game in Serie B and see an Irish player playing, which is great. Like, I know myself, I'm going to try and get over and watch a game with you, or watch you play this season for Venezia. I'll definitely be buying at least one of them jerseys because they're all lethal, every single one of them. Are you looking forward to wearing it? I know I don't know, well, actually, I don't know if you have been wearing
Wore the home one,
the black one.
Yeah.
How is that in the heat?
Hot.
Yeah, it looks
It wasn't too hot in Slovenia, to be fair. It wasn't too hot.
Yeah, the white one looks nice as well. I wouldn't mind that in the summer's day. That looks nice.
Yeah,
but
it's a strange one, like move over and then the green and green, white, and orange. Obviously the Irish colours and stuff. So yes, looks like it's they're all top kits. That gold one's the one that I like the most, though. So
is that the newest one that just came out the other day? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, they're all quality. But I think it's it's definitely a new lease of life for you. It's a fresh start, I think, this season now. How have you settled in just with Italy, the lifestyle? I imagine you like the Italian food. Who doesn't?
Yeah, I mean everyone does, don't they? But now I'm trying to stay away from the pizza and the pasta at the minute. Trying to just get fit and just be the best version of myself when the season starts. And it's going to be a little like adaptation period, like where I need to just adapt to a different culture completely. And luckily, there's only, I think, eight Italian players at Venice at the minute, so a lot of Americans and a lot of English speaking players. So in that sense, it's made it a bit easier. But obviously, I'm taking Italian. Want to get used to the language just so I can. Obviously, our manager is Croatian, but I think he studied in Italy, so he speaks Italian in training, but he obviously translates it for the non-Italian speakers. But just certain things like that, like you stop for a second, you think, when I was playing for Merview, the last thing I ever thought would I be wearing a Venezia kit and living in Italy, living in Venice and playing football abroad. Like, it's strange, but I'm enjoying it so far, and I'm just looking forward to the season starting, obviously, and to actually get to play some football and hopefully kick on this season.
Yeah, but Venezia making a lot of headlines even before you went there. I remember they had the viral tweet about TikTok saying if you're 12 years old, follow us on TikTok or something, and then that went viral and loads of people followed them on that. Then the kits came out, and then you signed for them. It kind of came out of the blue. Did Graham Potter say anything to you about the move? Kind of, this is where I want you to go, or was it just purely you just saying, I want to go, I want to play, and I kind of needed to get away from all the baggage that's in Brighton at the moment?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure he actually knew about the Venezia move. Seemed that I don't know, to be honest. Obviously, I only went back to pre-season for a week. Not much was said. I knew my time was up there when I went back. I knew that I'd be going out on loan or going on a permanent somewhere, and it's hard to be around an environment where you know you're not. What's the right word to use when you're not? Well, you're not wanted. You're not wanted there.
Maybe appreciated me.
Yeah, maybe something like that. But I knew when I was coming back for pre-season that I probably wouldn't be wearing a Brighton shirt again. So my mindset was always I'm going to be leaving the club. So it wasn't a shock when I was told that I wouldn't be going on the pre-season trip and I wouldn't be playing the pre-season games. It didn't, because I knew if I wasn't expecting it, it might have been a different story. But it's it's probably easier to process once you know something's going to happen and you're just expecting it. So obviously when Venezia come up, I spoke to Gordon Greer. He's a loans manager at Brighton, and when that come up, I just wanted to get it sorted and just get out as soon as possible and get here so I could have a good pre-season under my belt. And I think the team was in Slovenia for about 12 days when I got there. They stayed there for just over 3 weeks, I think. So I got a good 10 days, 11 days. So that's what I wanted. I wanted to fit in and get all the initiation stuff out of the way, and so I can be settled by the time the season comes around.
Did they have you up singing any songs or anything like that? Or what way did they do initiations in Italy?
Yeah, I sang my song already.
What was it?
I'm Yours by Jason Mraz.
I'm Yours.
I'm Yours, yeah.
There you go. Banging tune, to be fair. Well, I suppose just on the lastly, I think you can take a lot from what Shane Duffy did going back. You know what I mean? Like if you have a good season, does this give you a bit of a, I don't want to say chip on the shoulder, but maybe in some ways that is what I'm actually trying to say. Is that you feel like you're kind of not wanted. Now you kind of have that little bit of hunger, as if to say, I'm going to show you, but in the nicest way. Is that I'm going to show you what I'm capable of. I have the hunger back, and I'm going to have a good season. Is that your mindset? And what ultimately is your goal for the season now? If you want to, you don't have to give me like the number of goals that you want to score or anything like that, because if it doesn't come true, then there's a bit of an egg on your face. So what ultimately is your kind of goal for the season, and is that how you're kind of feeling at the moment? Was you want to just show your quality?
Yeah, of course. I've nothing. I don't think I've anything to prove to anybody at Brighton. That's not why I grew up playing football. Wasn't to go and be like, I'm going to prove this person wrong or prove this person wrong. I want to prove myself kind of right, if you get me. It was the right thing to move here and try a different culture, just different way of playing football. And obviously, I go into every season like I've gone into this season, and I don't think I've prepared better for a season in years, to be honest with you. And I don't, like I said at the start, physically, I feel the fittest I've been in a long time. And obviously, I'm going into the season hoping I can be the top scorer in the league. I'm a striker. I'm a number 9 for a club that's going to be challenging, hopefully up around the top end of the table. So that's got to be the aim, and that's what I'll be going for this season.
I think that's a nice way to kind of look at it. Was Stephen on to you to talk to you about getting out? He's spoken about players getting out and playing first team football to be considered in the Irish squad as well.
Yeah, we always kind of have communication here and there. I think it was quite obvious. Probably last summer, he was talking to me about getting out, and I probably, in a way, should have listened to the advice. But I was told I'd be part of the plans last season, and didn't work out that way. And in a way, I wish I'd listened to Stephen and pushed for a loan move last summer, because obviously you put your trust in people to, when they give you a word, and it doesn't end up like that. And then when I think I started one game in the Premier League last season. Yeah, I think it was one game, and then was on the bench, and I've started one cup game, two cup games, and then I expected to go to Middlesbrough after not training for 3 weeks at the back end of December, and went to Middlesbrough, and I wasn't fit, wasn't mentally, physically fit, and yeah, that's kind of how it went for me from January onwards.
Yeah, it's just anyone who kind of speaks about Stephen just speaks about how good he is as a one-on-one manager and person, and it seems that that's the case with yourself as well. He seems to have a real interest in the Irish players and kind of wanting the best for them. And as you say, you might not have learned then, but you seem to have grown up a lot. And even speaking to you here now, compared to when I spoke to you during the lockdown and stuff like that, you seem to have matured a good bit. Now, obviously, you're still quite young anyway. Naturally, you're going to be growing up all the time. But just from looking at you, you look fit. You look in a good place, and you sound like you're in a really good place now. And it looks like it's time for you now to kick on and ultimately try and get yourself to be the top scorer in Serie B and have eyes and your name back in the spotlight.
Yeah, that's what I want. Obviously, that's the plan, and just to enjoy football again. It's the main thing. I think that's the reason why I started, because I love the game, and that love's probably faded in the last 3 seasons. And I think everyone could probably tell by my performances at times, and maybe the way I carried myself off the pitch and sometimes on it. Looked like, looking back at certain games, and now that I'm in a better headspace, and you look back at games and you think, oh, Jesus, was I really walking around for that long, or did I really have my head down for this long, or do I really walk around like that? And you don't realize these things until you start to look back on it. And obviously, at the time when people were telling me, you've done this or you've done that, because of the headspace, and I didn't want to listen. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to see that what they were saying to me was right. I remember I had a meeting with Keith and Stephen, and they were showing me clips from the Azerbaijan game where I wasn't pressing, and then they showed me clips from a 21s game where I wouldn't stop running. I was running across a line to press the centre half, and then I was going to the right back, and that hunger kind of faded a little bit without me really realising. But now when you look back, and I'm putting all the work that I'm putting into this pre-season, like I was 4 seasons ago, 5 seasons ago, 6 seasons ago, that's when you really start to realise how much the hunger and the kind of desire and love for the game faded over the last couple of seasons.
Well, I think it's good though that you can kind of self-reflect on that, and you can kind of look back and kind of realise now, rather than it being too late. As you said, there was obviously a switch at some point where you went, look, I have to sort this out. I have to sort me personal issues, which is then going to help me on the pitch type thing. And it seems like that's the way you're going to go forward. So I think we'll leave it on that note. I want to wish you well personally for this season, and hopefully I can get over and catch you for a game in Venezia. And I'll definitely be getting those kids. I need to know your squad number when the season starts as well, so I can get a kit with your name on the back of it.
Perfect. I'll be letting you know. Yeah.
Well, nice one for that. Just for anyone watching, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And yeah, we'll speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching.